Hi everybody, David Harper here and welcome to my outdoor workshops, and this is where I'm going to show you how to make what looks like a really nasty modern reproduction of a recumbent Buddha. There he is. It looks like it's plastic. Turn it from something that looks pretty revolting into a modern piece of contemporary artwork. So I'm going to make it not look like a reproduction. I'm going to de-reproduce it and make it look like what it should be, a good piece of modern art. So take a close look at this thing for now. Looking at this thing, you might be surprised to hear that this is actually stone. It's carved hard stone, even though, just look at the finish, it looks like it's a big lump of resin, like a molded bit of plastic. So even though the carvers were skilled in their carving, they were dreadful at their finishing. They have no idea what an antique should really look like. So this is a bad repro. So get your eye in here. This carving is mid to late 20th century. So in the world of antiques, it's pretty modern. But what the makers have done is that they have tried to make it look old. I don't know whether it is to convince anybody, but if they are trying to convince anybody it's old, they've done a really bad job, because they've used this mucky, gingery brown material and just rubbed it into all the creases and the cuts and the carvings. It's just wrong. This is not how an antique would patinate. The colour is just too uniform too. The coloration, the final finishes, just totally ruin this piece. So now then, I'm going to take all the mistakes that the makers made within the last 20 or 40 years and turn it into something that it is, a good piece of art. So you need loads of hot soapy water, and I mean so hot you can barely touch it, right? Like loads of fairy washing up liquid, something like that. And some scrubbing cloths. It's burning. Right, so don't be afraid of these things, just get stuck in. And remember, it's all about preparation, and elbow grease makes all the difference. So let me just get a bit of, blimey, hot. So pinch a scouring pad from the house, right? You can always put it back after it's done a great job and made something that once looked pretty revolting and actually not very much value, and anyone in the trade would walk by, into a one-off piece of design. So there you go, there's a quick, let's get a cloth example of exactly what I want to get to. This colour is what I want, the natural colour of the stone. Then I'm going to wax it up. So bear with me. What I need to do is get pretty much the whole of the carving as white and creamy coloured as that section of the leg. If I do that, this thing will genuinely be transformed. And if that's the case, this recumbent stone carved Buddha is going to be so bright, I'm going to need my sunglasses on. It's actually a very good size. It's quite a dramatic size. And I mean, look, oh, not the best look in the world, but there you go. Luckily I'm at home. I won't be doing that again. Right, yeah, a good weight. Heavy, heavy, heavy thing. And it's odd, isn't it, that the person that made this thing had a great amount of skill, because this wasn't made by a machine. Again, it's not resin, although with this brown gunk on it, it looks like it's resin. It's stone, and it wasn't made by anything other than by hand, using hand tools. They might have been powered by electricity, but still, the carver, the craftsman who carved this out of one block of hard stone was pretty skilled. Where the skills went down the pan is when either he or one of his colleagues decided to try and make it look like an antique and colour it in all the wrong places, which to him at the time would have been all the right places. But antiques don't patinate uniformly. So just because there's a groove in something doesn't mean that necessarily that will collect dirt grime and dust. They just do it in the way they do it naturally, and with a trained, practiced eye, you can tell, you can spot the difference between something that is made to look old and something that genuinely is old. So I don't have to remove all of this gingery brown gunk at all. I can leave some of it in. Some of the bits that just won't come out with ease, I'll leave them in, and that's fine. And then it will be sold, I'll sell it exactly as what it is, which is a modern 20 or 40-year-old stone carving of the enlightened one, Buddha, naturally found in its natural hard stone with a little bit of wax. So bear with me, camera time, just a few seconds. I will come back and reveal all. Right, well, this is not going quite to plan. So the scrubbing with hot water, even with a wire brush, really isn't getting some of these areas clean at all. It's truly ingrained, I think, within the stone. So I've got, as you can see, a stone chisel. These are chisels that I use in my own sculptures. And this is the only way I can clean this thing properly now. I'm literally reworking the stone. So you'll see, I'm scraping the stone away. So it's I'm now part of the sculpture of this stonework. This is going to take a very long time, but I think this thing really is improving. Look at the face. It's so serene, as it should be, because this is Buddha. And these dark patches behind the ears really will look very grotty, but look, you can see, scrape it out. I might even sign this piece. Actually, you know what? I am now part of it. I think I will. Let me just think about that while I work on this. This is going to take another couple of hours at least. But it will be worth it. Watch how the stone chisel will scrape away. There, look at that. It is worth it. Once this is dried off, cleaned and waxed, it's going to look the business. Yeah, I don't see why I couldn't sign this. Why not? It's been reworked by me. Okay, I must tell you that when you work on projects like this, things can often change. So the first plan goes out the window and plans develop as you move on. So what I've found with this sculpture is, I called it a hard stone earlier on. It's not actually a hard stone. The more I work on it, it's softer. I think it's more like a limestone. So the chisels I use here are stone chisels for my work, and I use limestone and sandstone. So I'm finding I really can rework this thing, and I think I could improve it. So I'm going to sharpen it up in places just to get a little more definition. And the thing is, I can do it because it's mine. Nobody can tell me I can't do it. And I think it's going to look an awful lot better. So I'm really kind of taking ownership of this thing. I've done this kind of work many times before, and there's really nothing wrong in it as long as you're honest about what you've done. And people can either buy into that or not. That's entirely up to them. But the satisfaction I get from working on pieces like this, either my own stuff or reworking something, and I think improving it in my mind, or making it maybe a bit more modern, is fantastic. So I'm just going to keep on chiseling away here, and I'll come back to you again very soon. Well, here it is, finished and completed. And be honest, leave me some comments down below. What do you think? Have I improved this recumbent carved limestone Buddha? Well, I think I have. I think it looks the business. I love the creamy, warm appearance of the stone, so much so I'm going to leave it alone. I'm not going to wax it. It will just get better now over very many years. But compare it like to this. This is how it arrived a few hours ago. It looks like it's made from a molded plastic, really badly reproduced. It looks cheap, naff and nasty compared to this. Refined, sophisticated, bright. It is a one-off piece of stonework. There's no other piece like it in the world, and it will make any room look the business. And now all I have to do is sign it. Right, this actually is all about finger strength. You've got to grip hold of this stone mason's chisel and push with all your might until your fingers feel like they're going to pop off. Just take a little while. You can see that I'm leaving the base untouched, so I haven't cleaned the base. I kind of like it. It also accentuates the signature a bit as well. So I'm going to sign it. There you go. Here we are, David Harper, and then I'll just do a couple of, well, what shall I say? Cleaned and reworked, I think, would be a fair description. Gotta push really hard. These tools are actually remarkably sharp. It's just shocking what they can do. There we go, almost done. Let's date it now. 2021. Here we are. And then, you know, what's lovely about this is that people will look at this in years to come. I don't know, 50 years, 100 years time. Maybe they'll even see this on YouTube. That's it, all done. I loved that experience. So priced now 250 quid. I just think for such a unique little decorative thing, it's no money. So listen, thanks for watching. Until next time, I'm David Harper. Cheerio.